Thank you for joining us here at the We Wish You Would podcast. My name is Max.
The fuck was that?
Anyone else can fucking speak. Anyone
And my name
else? Anyone
is,
else want to talk on the microphone?
Nobody wants to talk on the microphone. That's not why
Okay,
we're here.
anyways, it's
No.
just me today with two people
Yep.
just in the call.
Yep.
And I'll talk at myself. How was your day going?
Well, I'll
Seems like
actually
no.
introduce myself. DJ.
There you go.
We're gonna have an exciting episode. Might not be exciting at all, but at least it'll be crazy and funny or whatever.
I'm Preston,
You never-
and yeah, it'll be interesting.
That's the word we'll use.
At the very least.
At the very least. Today we're talking about something.
Something. The first thing would be phobias. Yeah,
Ah!
that is what we decided to talk about. Without Max, we decided to talk about phobias, and
My phobia.
and there's a lot. All right, let's start with Max.
Oh God, no.
Actually, we kind of already talked about this. You kind of described you don't really have a phobia
I don't
per se.
I don't know, like, because I am kind of curious because I mean, like, there's always the fear of missing out, right? That's a thing, but I don't know if that's considered a phobia.
I don't know. That's a good question. Luckily, we have computers. You know?
I actually don't. I am only working with rocks and sticks, and I have to share my rock.
Dude, he's recording with rocks and sticks.
It's-
This is impressive.
So
I got mine to work.
$2,000 computer? No, can't get recording to work.
Nope.
Rocks and sticks, got it.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah, so phobias. Yeah, I don't know if fear of missing out is a phobia, but I mean,
it technically is. It's there's three categories of phobias.
Sure.
That one falls under a social phobia. So it's not necessarily like an irrational fear of something, but it is something that gives you discomfort or anxiety.
so and then I guess by definition we're saying like there could be multiple categories of phobias, or is phobias just like something that someone's irrationally afraid of?
There's categories of it because
See, I was gonna say, like, I've always thought of phobias as like, oh yeah, like the fear of clowns or like the fear of spiders. I didn't think there were categories. I thought it was just, I guess the categories I thought of were the things you're afraid of. Question, go. But yeah, no, the older I get, the more I realize how stupid I am.
I think that's just as our brains get older, we just start to
I guess-
rot. And,
Yeah, to be fair, we also
yeah.
have the ability to take in more information, and therefore we learn more as we get older because we're introduced to more things by volume of existing for periods of time longer than 3 minutes.
What? You've been alive for more than 3 minutes? I don't
5.5.
Got it.
okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, dude, I am old, man. Let
Yeah,
me tell you.
4 minutes.
Back in my day. But yeah, so phobias have the category. What are the categories specifically? I'm assuming you have...
So there's specific phobias, which
Mhm.
those are the ones that you'd think of, like fear of tight spaces, fear of spiders, fear of clowns. So those are specific things that give you an irrational fear response.
Mhm.
Social phobias are the ones like social anxiety, the more common fear of public speaking, and
Yeah.
fear of missing out.
Kinda
Like
weird.
FOMO is more of a fear of regret that gives you anxiety.
That's a
The old
good point. It's less of a fear of actually missing out. It's just like regretting missing out once you've already missed out.
Wait, I want you to say that one more time, exactly the way you said it.
I don't think I can.
It's not like it's not the fear of missing out, and it's the fear of regretting about missing out. Yeah, I
Well,
think
after
both.
the fact.
I think. Well, yeah, because I mean, like, there's for me specifically, like I know that growing up specifically when I was a kid, all my friends were hanging out and I wanted to go hang out all the time with them. And I
Yeah.
was always that moment of like, dude, I want to go, I gotta go. But knowing that I should probably go to bed or having a job in my younger years, Jesus Christ. They're breaking my day a whole 3 minutes ago.
Grumpy old man, folks.
A whole 3 minutes ago. But like having those moments where like, here's a story specifically. Is I would go to my friend's house and we would play like Battlefield.
Yeah.
And we would start playing Battlefield at like 9:00 p.m. We wouldn't stop playing Battlefield until like 2:30 a.m. I had to go to work at 4 a.m.
Now, is this like Battlefield?
Bad Company 2.
Like,
well, to be fair, it was like
okay.
Bad Company, and then there was also like Battlefield 3. Like Battlefield 3, not Battlefield 3.
Yeah, we just had to age you real quick just to make
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, dude, back when 1942 Road to Rome was a thing, when we played Desert Combat mod because you could fly Apache helicopter and do flips and stuff with that, yeah, that was legit. But no, we're talking just bringing the old Xbox 360 over to my friend's house, packing my TV over there because, you know, everyone else had TVs that were there or they had an extra one, and the people that I would bring there were lazy as fuck. But the yeah, no, I would go there. I would stay up till friggin' 2:30 a.m. and then I would drop my friend off back at his house, and then I'd go straight to work. And this is after I had already worked, so it's like I didn't sleep at all.
Yeah, yeah. I feel
it's
like
it's not good.
I feel like I've had a little bit of the same, and especially the like going and doing stuff when I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And sacrificing sleep. That was pretty much after high school. Every weekend, I just was always either if there wasn't anything going on, I was making it go on.
Right.
And it I think it might have been stemmed from that fear of missing out, like that I was missing out on life, really. Like I wasn't living it if I wasn't living it to the fullest, I was missing out.
Right. And then we'll also just slip in the idea I am a terrible gambler at sometimes. So the point of like, but I could get the thing on this roll.
One more hunt.
One more hunt. Yeah. Enough about my FOMO, if you will. What are any of y'all's phobias? What do you got? What do you got?
Oh my!
Let's start with you, Preston.
Yeah, get in there, dude.
The
While you
only
do that, I'll be
the
right
only
back.
one that I like irrationally fear is centipedes. I despise centipedes with a passion.
Uncomfortable silence.
Like, what's your worst experience with a centipede?
Well, I could probably pinpoint exactly why I have my phobia.
I remember
Because
the day and
my
minute.
asshole siblings, when I was like 5 years old, we lived on a farm and my mom had a big garden, so centipedes were pretty common. And yeah, we were out, like I think we were helping my mom pull weeds or something like that, and I saw a centipede and it kind of freaked me out. And then my older brother goes, "Oh yeah, that's a centipede. They're the most poisonous insect on the planet. If you touch it, you'll just die. There's no cure."
One boy, and I'm dead. I'm gonna pick it up.
And I ran home.
God.
I like ran inside screaming and crying. And I believed that because nobody told me different for like 5 years.
Right.
From 5 to 10, just terrified that at any moment he was going to accidentally brush by a centipede and die.
Exactly.
It could crawl on
I
your
would-
shoe
like,
and you
I
just
could-
instantly explode.
Right? Like I was scared to like run in the grass barefoot because there might be a centipede
Oh no!
there.
Just like literally took away like some of his joys in life.
Yeah.
And that's something that phobias really do. Like there are people with such bad phobias that they will avoid them at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I didn't
many
like
people
running around in the
can
grass
say
with my
that.
bare feet because I stepped on a bee or two. It did take like 3 for me to stop doing that.
Yeah, that's how smart he is.
I mean, the first one I stepped on as a kid was in like my house. I was in the house, like walking around barefoot, and the carpet was like, it was the nasty old shag carpet. So it was like anything could be crawling in there. You could step on a cat and you wouldn't know. Yeah, no, it was a bumblebee of all things, which is unfortunate because I love bumblebees. They're adorable. But like, yeah, I stomped on that thing. I was like, oh shoot, that hurt. And then I got stung again. Same spot, right between the toes.
That's
once
so
again.
weird.
It's like, dang it.
Uncomfortable silence.
So my phobia is the fear of the deep. I think we wrote it down.
The boys?
That just deep comes onto the screen.
Just that character. I've had this when I was a child.
I'm just gonna keep my mouth closed and run away. So yeah, fear of the deep. I'm gonna slaughter this. Thalassophobia. No.
Okay, hold up. I'm pulling it up now. I gotta
It's
pull it up.
thalassophobia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
English major.
The D.
History.
I
English
mean,
minor.
it's got English in it.
Man, it'd be helpful if I could type. Name.
Now,
I can't read.
Is it
you can't type.
Is it specifically the fear of like the deep waters, or it does like deep dark spaces in general trigger that as well?
It's just water.
Just water.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, water's
I
wild.
could care less if I'm in the dark. Like, I'm not afraid of the dark at all. I could be in a forest where I could barely see any of it.
What
I'm
about
comfy
space?
there. I mean, space, I would love to, but it's kind of hard to be afraid of it for me in my eyes, just because it's like
the reality of never going out into space.
I'm not likely gonna be up there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can space out, but it's not the same.
I love sci-fi games, but that's not gonna. I'll die in them and still be alive. It's fine.
Right. Well, you can die in video games with ocean involved. Like, didn't you play the one that specifically is like the divey one?
Subnautica scared the shit out of me.
I say that whole game is built around that.
It's built around fear. The music, the soundtracks, the noises are literally designed to cause fear.
Yeah. Well, because it's a scary.
Just anxiety and fear in everybody. And then you add, I can't see below me. There's nothing but water.
That's not
swim a little further down, see a little bit of things here and there, and then a fucking monster appears.
So I was to say, it's not nothing below you. There's a bunch of things below you. You just can't see
yeah, exactly.
And I guess I kind of get that too, because I've been snorkeling before, and I've gone snorkeling in Hawaii, and there you could be in like the bottom could be 50 feet below you. It looks like it's 3, right? The water's so clear you can see everything straight down, and that didn't bother me a bit. But standing in 10 feet of water where I can't see the bottom, like snorkeling or scuba diving in lakes and rivers or anything like that, that does like induce some anxiety for me.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know that it's to the point where I couldn't do it, but the idea of it and like just being in rivers where I can't see, it's quite a bit of anxiety, and it makes me very uncomfortable. Right. Falling off of the freaking your tubing, and you just get flung off of it, and they have to come around to get you. That just them getting to you, I'm so anxious just waiting in the water. Ugh. Yeah. Honestly, so that's the big one.
I'd like to go specifically like lakes and stuff like that. Lakes and rivers. The idea of finding like treasures and stuff, like, ooh, what's down there? Like, I love the idea of going down deep where it's dark.
Yeah.
Because I have an unhealthy love of flashlights. And so having a light like blasting through the water, like you have the rays, the beam, and then it's just like boom, flood. And then like kind of digging around is so much easier when you're underwater because you just kind of slap it a little bit and it works. Versus like trying to dig up on the beach, it sucks. Because
What?
every time you put a shovel, man, like, I swear I've done a little bit of I haven't gotten super into it, but I'm trying to. Metal detector.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
so like getting in there, like I love finding trinkets and stupid crap. Like finding a toy truck in our backyard was rad as hell. From like probably the 30s or whatever, dude. It was like old.
I have found some cool stuff metal detecting.
Yeah. Like it's the idea also underwater, like magnet fishing and all that stuff. Like I would love to do
Mhm.
that, but the other part of me is like, I don't want to be on the bridge throwing a magnet in the water. I mean, I kind of do. It's like the
I
Unga
mean, why
Bunga.
not?
It's the Unga Bunga feeling of like throwing a big old rock in the water and you're just like, yeah, splash, make splash. Oh, I pull up now. And maybe it has like, a tank or something. Who knows?
Yeah, you pulled up a tank.
Yeah, dude.
That was like the
100%.
thing.
Yeah, no, yeah.
A lot
Toy
of
tank.
people find
And I struggled with
firearms
it.
doing that.
Yeah,
That's another
I mean, we've
thing.
all seen the videos.
Oh
Yeah.
man. The ones that scare the hell out of me though is when they find like explosives.
Yeah.
That's some sketchy shit.
Like a a shell that's been shot and just hasn't blown up.
Yeah.
Oof,
It's like some
yeah.
artillery stuff is like I mean pulling up like a big old fat like, tank round or whatever out of the ocean. One, heavy. Two, I don't know if I'd care. Because it's like, I mean, I might. Who knows? But the idea of pulling up something that would be like a round or something of that nature, not really that big of a deal. Anything that has a nose pressure point explosive primer, that's scary. That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
That is, I would agree.
And then they get like the bags and stuff, like it's just a whole duffel bag full of weird stuff. You're like,
Well, have you guys also seen where people like almost get in trouble for finding something?
oh yeah, no, I mean, I've been around the YouTube block a couple of times. Doom
Doom
scrolling and nothing but magnet fishing.
scrolling. I got lost in magnets.
But I mean, yeah, no, like to be fair, I can only imagine if you made a phone call like, hey, by the way, Popo, I found a gun. It probably should go to you. Like, I know that I would be so mad if I never got to see it again. Because he'd be like, this is my treasure. I found it.
Yeah.
My
But at the same
precious.
time,
Is it worth it? Oh, this is connected to a murder, and I just decided not to turn it in, and then I somehow got caught with it. Fuck.
yeah, somehow got caught with it because I cleaned it up and took it out shooting. People were like, weird, I recognize that gun from the time I killed someone. I mean, what?
The murderer. What a twist.
Revenge comes full circle. You feeling lucky? But yeah, no, I think that's fair. Honestly, fear of the water, like the phobia of it. I remember like early video games and like I say early, but like PlayStation 1 and PS2 and all that stuff going from there. Like a lot of the games like Jack and Daxter and all these other things that I played were if you were in the water, there was a thing that was essentially programmed in the game so you couldn't just explore the end of the island or
Yeah.
find where the actual box of the thing is not. And it'd just be a giant fish. Just, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
You
dead.
just die. You fall in the water, you were dead.
That's terrifying. Like that's
Yeah.
my sister and I have a respect I would call for water anywhere in a game. It's like I don't know, man.
I think everybody should have a healthy
Yeah.
respect for
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ocean and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
no,
dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Yes,
And not just because of the creatures in it. Mother Nature.
Mother Nature be cray cray sometimes. She's like, I see you've come to take a dip. Come with me.
Yeah, riptides are terrifying.
Yeah, dude.
They are. Yeah.
Oh man, what other phobias?
I've been caught in a couple. Yeah.
What other phobias do you guys have? I know that I grew up with like the understanding that clownophobia was just what I had to have for my family.
Actually,
No one,
Are a lot
none
of
of the
them
people in
afraid of
my family
clowns?
like clowns. They're
you
like,
know what?
nah.
I have some literature actually.
Oh,
Put your literature
the
down.
man
No,
brought paper.
because hey, Max brought it up, okay, and it's
Hey,
familial root phobias are
Yeah.
very common,
Well,
where
yeah, because I
you might
imagine,
not
like,
necessarily have had an experience that triggers
Right.
that phobia, but everyone else in your family or your parents have a phobia, and that
So
that's just
that
good
that
way
literally
of living.
segues exactly into the one I was gonna kind of mention, the trypophobia.
Yes.
And I'm not even
very-
sure that's like a fear,
Yeah, it can be. To be
but
fair, we talked
it's
about
straight
specifically
up.
my FOMO not necessarily being a fear. It's just like the anxiety of not being able to go do a thing and regretting not having that kind of like connection, anxiety inducing, not
But like,
necessarily like
I just don't know if trypophobia like
it
gives me
says
anxiety
phobia in
other
the
than
name. It's
just
clearly a
it
phobia.
just yeah, but it just makes me feel super uncomfortable and
Yeah.
like sick even.
Sure, and some people are that way with
But like
monkeys.
I'm not scared of it. I can't say I'm like I don't want that to be near me. It's
Right.
more of like that's just really, really disgusting to look at. Part of me wants to keep looking at it because it's so disgusting to look at.
It's like a train wreck.
It really is. And like I just get so uncomfortable, get goosebumps, and I feel sick to my stomach pretty much anytime anything triggers it.
see. I think that I don't think phobia necessarily means that you have a fear of something, just that it causes you anxiety or discomfort
Right.
Yeah,
involuntarily.
Now, I want to quickly touch on the learned generational thing. The idea
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like, because to be fair, like growing as a species, the human race, that is, it was kind of like, hey, not touch fire, it burn and hurt bad. And they're like, oh, makes sense. Don't touch fire, it hurt bad.
Like, did my ancestors get killed by a giant hornet's nest?
Well, no,
Like, what happened?
the other idea with that too is like you learn through other people's experiences before you do the stupid things, unless your people like us
Yeah.
probably do the stupid things anyway. But the idea is
Yeah.
that you have the you learn from your peers, from your elders, that no,
Yeah.
this thing's bad. I remember specifically my dad like, hell no to clowns ever, nah. And I'm like, I get it, they're creepy. I have no enjoyment for a clown ever, always. Like I don't like look at a clown and go, I look at a clown and I go, I don't mess with that. I don't want
I'm
anything to
good.
do with it. Like it's not like it freaks me out. It doesn't make me uncomfortable. Just like, nah, I don't want to be around that. Like that has nothing for me. Maybe
So
it
what
does
would
make
have
me
happened in those clown scaring moments if you were
So
in
I
one?
had that. I actually did that because they had like the corn maze thing that you could go through, and like there would be the
Oh,
actors
yeah.
all dressed up. I remember specifically because the way I get scared, I usually just start talking, and I just start like making jokes because that's just my defense mechanism, I guess. But like I
You're
remember
scared
going.
of podcasts. That's why he's here.
But I remember going through the corn maze, and like there was a specific section where they had like clowns on stilts with like super long arms and legs and stuff, and I was like, fuck this. And I remember going through and like seeing that. Of course, also I am a relatively intelligent person, and I also was like, oh, they're actors, they're not allowed to touch me. If they touch me, then it's go time. But I remember going in there like, oh, hell no. Nah. And I started like, oh, and he walks through the clown valley of the bullshit. And just kind of doing my thing. And I went through. And the worst part is that specific story, real quick, random tangent aside. My friends left my friend, I was with a group of people. One of my friends who was there left his girlfriend back there.
Oh.
And then
Like
no
ran
one
away?
wanted. Yeah, no, they were like, and they ran off. And then she was still back there. And I remember specifically, they were like, Nah, I ain't going back there, dude. She dead.
She's dead.
And I remember being the only
Lost her.
person. One, I don't like clowns to that point, but also like I was the only person that was like, all right, I'll go back in there. And so I ran back in there and like found her, and is that
Back through the
I
valley
had
of
I had
clouds.
the heroic moment of like, I'm going back in to hell. Like Doomslayer music playing in the background.
Right.
I fucking picked her up and then ran out of that area because she had fallen on the ground and started crying. I was like, I can't. I'm not gonna drag you. You're coming with me. Let's go.
Oh,
But
jeez.
yeah, no, the learned concept of having those phobias or having those fears, or at least the respects of like, oh yeah, by the way, if you go in the water, you can drown.
Yeah.
Or
Now,
the,
is
or,
the-
or
is the
Slender Fish
generational
will eat
stuff
your hand.
like learned by peers more or like family? How exactly does that work?
I would say it's specifically. Granted, I'm going to shoot at this before Preston throws actual literature at us, but
Yeah.
I think it really
Our
comes
fact
from
checker.
yeah, right? The guy who knows things. I would assume that it's from your immediate peers. I don't think it's necessarily from a whole lot of. I don't know, because it really comes down to like you're around.
It's
your
not like
parents.
from your genes. It's from like your learned social peers
I would
through
say
generations.
I don't know, like, because I think that you learn a lot of scary stuff as a child, and you're not really
Yeah.
like, I don't imagine that you're really out and about, like, really digesting all of this literature and entertainment from like, okay, I say that, but then I also know there's like iPad kids now. I don't know, man. Like, I would say it would originally be from the immediate family, and then your peers and friends that you'd find along the way, and then you get the creepy, like the people that are like constantly talking about things that they're scared of because they were introduced to it by some XYZ. And then you go, oh yeah, my friend, he's a tough guy, man, but he's afraid of bumblebees because they scary. They got the big old stingers and they're built like bodybuilders. Oh, dude, like some of these things are irrational. It is what
they
it is.
are.
Sure.
But like, I would say that would be my immediate guesstimation.
So
Fact check.
it actually it talks about both. Now the survey that
Right.
they did in particular was about immediate family because that's an easier thing to get data on than somebody's
You
Yeah.
also
circle of
trust them a
friends.
lot more.
And it actually talks about both because it says that certain phobias are very likely to be passed down, but they think they're more about environmental factors. So like specific fears. Let's see, which one did they mention? Like fear of dentists. We'll go with that. Or like needles. Those kind
Yeah.
of
Oh,
things.
needles. That's a big one.
Yeah, those kind of
Yeah.
things are mostly
I
like
like needles.
environmental.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's some that they attribute less to environment and more to genetics and evolutionary advantages. So it actually talks about trypophobia. And one theory that they pose in this article is that it may stem from an ancient aversion to infectious diseases and parasites.
Oh yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up.
So it's
You
It
know-
something
also
that's like,
says it also says that people named DJ with this specific phobia are wieners. That's
another
straight
one
up.
is like fear of
I don't believe
blood
you.
or injury. Those are
There's
just
no way it says my name.
let's see.
Sorry, Preston. Go on.
DJ, yeah, no.
Yeah, it does say
It's
I'm
in there.
telling you, I'm telling
Okay,
you, I
fact
read
checker,
ahead.
got
I read
it,
ahead
yeah.
100%. I fact checked the fact checker. It's in there 100%.
But it does talk about like it's more about your immediate environment. So your close circle, whether that be friends or family, is more
Yeah.
likely to pass along those phobias. And
I could
it's
see
got
that,
some
yeah.
crazy like another one they talk about that's probably more evolutionary than it is environmental is a fear of animals. Because now this
like
is
prey compared to predator kind of instincts.
yeah, because it's something that would be advantageous for you to have an immediate fight or flight response upon seeing a large animal or a large predator.
Yeah.
A horse scorpion for sure.
Yes.
It's just a horse.
What
with
Because-
a tail, dude.
You have a
Max has seen some shit.
Yeah, dude, I was out in the prairie, man, and they had a horse with a scorpion tail.
Yeah, just watch out for
like
those
it was right
centipede
next to the
horses.
jackalope.
The worst part about that is when you got on top of the saddle, it just straight up kill you. Straight through the back of your head, man. Just gone.
Worst horse ever.
That's actually what happened to Christopher Reeves.
Oh, brutal. Superman's greatest weakness:
Scorpion horses.
scorpion horses. Worse than kryptonite.
What a hell of a.
So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, though. Like, just a fear of large animals. Like, I've known people fear of horses, dogs,
Yeah, they
large cats, gorillas. You know, all of that. I've met someone with those fears. It's pretty common.
they have. So if your parents, if either of your parents identify as having agrozoophobia, which is the fear of wild animals, you are 45 to 47% more likely to inherit that fear.
Huh.
Which is a
It's interesting.
it's a pretty
statistic,
large.
yeah.
That's a pretty large percentage for that kind of.
Yeah, it's almost half. Like at the high end, that's almost half. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like let's say you have 4 kids, like 2 of them are likely to have it.
That's more than 2, dude. That's great.
More than 2%?
Yeah, it's more than 2.
Oh, okay. I was like, more than 2 kids? Yeah, I
Yeah.
said 4 kids.
You did say 4. Yeah. I'm saying, like, that's crazy.
Chewy's less than 4, right?
I'm pretty sure numbers are hard.
Hold on, let me fact check that.
Yeah. check that real quick. Get back to me on that one. But until you're done with checking, because there's probably a ton of things to look through. I guess now I say that I don't have a whole lot of phobias, but I do have a healthy respect and or tendency to stick away from certain things. Like, for instance, I don't like needles. And I think that's
Not a fan.
it's not really. I mean, granted, as I've gotten older, when I go get shots, I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Just do it. Do you want to look away? No, just fucking do it, dude. I don't want to be here, and I'm tired of waiting, and I had to sit in a chair and wait for you to stab me. I'm not really interested.
I'm wondering
in
if that's just
stabbed.
because of the pain, because shots hurt quite a bit.
They can't. That's the thing too that I've found, because my mom was a nurse growing up, and of course, a fun story with that one is that she came home one day with like a shot for me. I didn't know it was a shot, but she said, "Hey, I got you something." And I was like, "Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be some kind of cool thing." She's like, "Cool, roll up your sleeve." I'm like, "Why are you making me do that? That's weird." She's like,
Got him!
"Get you, sucker!"
And
It's
that's
a
where his
boost
phobia
shot.
came from.
Yeah, I mean,
Yo,
yeah, that's
That's how you can inherit them. That's
Yeah.
also how you can inherit them. It's your family
experiencing it
trauma.
firsthand. I mean, to be fair, like I don't like going to the dentist because I've also had a dentist stab me in the face. Quick
Yeah.
story. I won't say where because they probably don't work there anymore, God willing. But there was a nurse lady, and she was like doing because I had braces at the time. She was like cleaning the braces, doing the whole like dental Mr. Hook. And then she's like, "I look like American Psycho," and she started doing the re. But she was doing this number, and then she stabbed me twice in the gums. And I have a pretty high pain tolerance. I found out. Yeah, and I remember being in the chair, and I remember specifically just like she stabbed me twice. She's like, "Oh shoot, my bad," and I was like, "Finish whatever you're doing. Just get done and get the fuck out of my mouth." Like I started to bleed from my mouth, dude. It was a whole time. And granted, that was like the beginning of that, like that's I don't know, the visit, if you will, because it was the nurse was there. She's like, ah. And then I had to see the
What
doctor,
the-
and the doctor showed up. He's like, "I'm an actual dentist. That's pretty crazy. Why are you bleeding?" I was like, "Oh man."
Must have been not
Yeah,
flossing
I got
enough.
a story to tell
Yeah.
you.
Dude, I just want to leave. Your nurse stabbed me in the mouth twice with a hook.
Help.
So like, yeah, no, those moments are like, you develop a healthy understanding that you don't like being in a place or like things being stabbed into you. But I will
Edgy
say, like,
first.
claustrophobia, like that one specifically, I get it. Like, I don't like being squished in a spot where I can't like move, and after
Yeah,
a
that's
certain amount of time,
uncomfortable.
I don't like that.
I never liked
wouldn't-
going in manholes for
I liked
USMC.
going in manholes, but only because it felt like I was like Indiana Jones and I was uncovering the Lost Ark every time I did it.
Okay, let me correct that. The really small manholes.
Are you talking about the one that Big went into and like it was
Yeah, I had to go
legitimately,
into
like,
one of those
it
too.
was an
yeah.
old World War, like I think it was World War One or like something like that era. It was an old manhole, but it was like the manhole was almost wider than the actual area inside. So like
it was ridiculous.
it was a wee
Ugh.
hole. But yeah, no, like claustrophobia, I don't like messing with it, but it's also usually because I've been roughhoused enough times where the people would be like, haha, I'm gonna put this pillow on you and suffocate you. I'm like, oh cool. I don't like that.
Maybe you just don't like dying.
I mean, to be fair, no one should.
See, and
I dying makes living really hard.
I don't
little
like.
bit.
I don't ever.
9 out of 10 doctors don't agree with dying as a healthy alternative.
Wait, what about the 10th?
There's always the 10th, dude. There's
Yeah,
always
that
the 10th.
that dentist is the 10th.
I mean, dying could be fun. Everyone punches that guy in the head.
What you were
But
saying,
yeah.
Preston?
I was just saying, I don't think I've ever experienced claustrophobia, really. But
You ever been
I
in
think
really
having a
tight space
healthy,
for
like,
lunking?
knowing when a space is too tight is probably a good sense to have. Because I can't tell you how many times I've watched, like, cave divers or spelunking videos or
Where they never
like
come back
urban
out.
explorers. Yeah.
Dude,
But even just the ones where they do, but it's like they're crawling through a crevice where if they get stuck, then that's it. Like they're just stuck there.
Yeah,
And
or like they're like they're going like this,
uh-huh.
just like doing the worm with their body to get out of it.
Yeah, I'm like, nope.
That makes me so uncomfortable because I'm just like, what? Why?
because it's
What is the? It's not
It's
for
so
me.
cool. So I have gone spelunking, and it's cool. Like it's wild, but it's cool. Like when you were talking about when you were snorkeling in Hawaii, like 50 feet below you, but it looked like 3 feet. I was in a cave. I can't remember where it was, but I was in a cave, and the guy that our tour guide for that, because it was a big cave and you could definitely fall and die forever. The guy was like, "Oh yeah, we're going through here." He's like, "Oh hey, by the way, do you see that stalagmite over there?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "How far do you think that is?" And I'm like, trying to gauge it because your depth perception underground in places like that is fucked. And I was like, I don't know, like 20, 30 feet away, 100 feet maybe. He's like, yeah, that's about a mile away. Or whatever the hell he said. It was a
Dang.
fucking wild number. And he's like, yeah, that thing's huge. And that is a fucking like 20-minute walk. It's like,
Wow.
Yeah,
whoa!
I've heard about that kind of stuff too, and it's like there's nothing for your brain to scale the size of anything down there because it all looks the same.
Yeah.
And so your brain just goes, oh, that's like 20 feet away.
Start walking.
Huh.
It's not getting any smaller.
Never would have thought about that because, like, most of the time you have reference of the sky or
Right. Yeah, no, it is a very
norms.
like,
yeah.
crazy thing, especially because like going underneath there and being there, I was like, dang, dude, that is really far away, and it is very big.
How small was the hole to get in?
Oh, it wasn't that. I mean, to be fair, like it was a well taken care of like spelunking like area because they have a tour guide that goes there like every
Like a tourism
every so
one,
often.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't gonna just like dive in a hole and just see where I got.
Because
That's how you
Let's see if we can
That's how you
find the
find a
center of the
Wendigo,
world.
and that's how you become a flesh-eating monster. No, I'm not doing that.
Because I have
Arrest.
also I've been in caves and stuff like that. But if there's any like ever a part where oh yeah you have to squeeze through these rocks to get through the next part of the cave, it's like oh well guess I'm not seeing that part.
Nah, dude. Well, I mean, I don't know. Part of me also just, there's a point of it like going into those areas, like when you have the ability to squeeze in an area, like there's a certain pride that you get when you like and you go through it and you're like, dude, I made it through that.
I
That's
think it's important to push through your fears anyway. So
I
like,
agree.
or anxieties.
With responsibility. If you're just
Yeah.
like, I'm afraid of heights, I'm gonna jump off a building
Well, that's stupidity.
with a parachute, but I have maybe not a whole lot of experience.
So,
I don't know. Like it's a
Yeah.
to be
that's a
fair,
that's an
though,
extreme. I'm scared of heights. Let's go fight it with a big old building. Yeah.
I did used to be afraid of heights when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember specifically like one time they were having like a hot air balloon stampede where I was living.
Oh, okay.
And one of them was doing free rides for people. And it would just
Whoa.
like go up and then drop back down. And it was
That's
it would go up
awesome.
like not very high, as like maybe 100 feet.
It's
But
not that bad.
I was terrified. I sat in the corner of the basket and did not look down.
To be fair, to be fair, hot air balloons are rad. However, you're also in a basket underneath a balloon that could very easily explode.
Yeah, and the whole the wicker
Yeah.
basket is being held on by 4 ropes, and those ropes are the only thing between you and a quick trip to the ground.
I mean, it
But
would be the fastest way down.
the way I
Exciting.
got over it was by like cliff diving and bridge jumping and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I did a lot of those.
I haven't
As
done
a
any of
teenager.
those.
Really?
I never went cliff driving. I never did any of that. I wanted to, but it was never a time where people were like, "Yo, we're actually gonna go find a cliff and jump off of it." And I was like, "Cool."
Dude, you missed
never
out on
happened.
2012. 2012, man.
Yeah,
There's a
Yeah,
there's a
man.
lot of
Yeah.
good spots.
yeah. No, I just never went. Granted, I also have a pretty healthy like reaction system where if I want to do something stupid, my body won't let me. Like there was a time.
Isn't that fear?
Well, like yes and no.
Your
right?
body's afraid. You're fine, but your body's afraid.
My body's more responsible than I am. I think sometimes it's like I'll be like, "Yo, I'm gonna go," because there's a time where I worked at an undisclosed area with totally worked there, restaurant, and when it was closed, we would mop the floors and all that stuff, but then we'd put down chairs in a circle, and then we'd have one person would get on the chair and they'd run the circle, and then the chairs would absolutely slide out, and then you'd just eat shit on the chairs and the floor. And then we also had we would mop up there, like wipe down the front counter, and then we would have what we called tray diving. Is it you would run at the front counter with an actual meal tray, and then you
It's
dive
like
on
go
the meal
flying.
tray on the thing, and then it would send you flying, but it would be flying into like the grease kitchen, and so you'd fly in there and like eat shit on everything. And there was a time that I went and did that, and I ran towards it and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it." And I dove, and I remember like getting to the end of it, and like my feet just kind of like, "Nah, we're not going that speed." It's like, what the fuck? So like I hit the thing and kind of slewed and fell off. And the other guy that was there, dude, man, was either really dumb or just really dumb. He would go full speed sprint, hit that thing, hit the grease trap, and then everything else in the kitchen as he just tumbling on the floor, hitting everything. I'm surprised that dude's still alive.
Jeez.
But we also did mop bucket jousting, which was great times.
Oh, that's fun.
I also happen to have very bony knees and elbows, so when we ran into each other, I remember hitting my friend underneath his kneecap with my knee, dude. He couldn't walk right for like a week and a half.
Just freaking dead legged with your knee.
Dude, it was
Full
bad.
speed.
Oh,
Well, and I
man.
think that, like, not to bring up like the sexist thing, but a lot of guys that I've known.
Oh yeah, no,
and
we
myself
definitely
included a
don't
few
live
times
longer than women for a reason.
do some really stupid shit.
Yep.
Yeah, like
It-
I
That statistic is because of accidents.
I mean, when
And
someone says do it for the vine, you know?
hold my beer. There's another one.
Hold my beer, yeah. To be fair, I've said that a
Yeah.
couple of times.
I have to.
Yeah.
And the reason I
Oh.
stopped, I haven't actually gone cliff diving in a long time, and it's because I watched my friend almost kill himself doing it. Because we were at like campgrounds, and there was wasn't even that big of a cliff. It was probably like a 20 to 25-foot cliff into some glacier melt off.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so it wasn't that bad, but the problem was you had to get a run up to it because there was rocks at the bottom, so you had to jump out a good 10 feet.
And was it slick at the top?
No, but it was sloped. So like it was a cliff, and then it would slope off down like this. So you had to jump like at the height of it and then outwards. So I did it, and my friend who had never gone cliff diving before was like, "Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it."
They'll learn or they'll die.
And he got up.
For some
there.
reason, I feel like I know who this is, but go on.
Probably do.
Is it your neighbor?
Yeah. He started running up to it, and then got a few feet from the point where he had to jump, and you could see his body just say nope.
Yeah.
He did
And
what
so
your body does.
He stopped, but the problem was he was still like right at the part where it sloped down, so he started sliding down, and he was inches from the point where he would have just slid off and fallen on the rocks like 20 feet down.
Oh my god.
Oh jeez.
And even though I didn't experience that, having witnessed it, I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't a good idea.
When you are faced with the true identity of your mortality is when you finally wisen up.
Yeah. I mean, has he tried jumping off of anything tall since?
Not since then, no.
I'm not surprised.
Did he know how close he was?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he
He's
did.
like,
yeah,
Get
I'm sure.
himself on the way down.
Well, and then there's just a lot of people that don't. I think there's a lot of people that don't think of those things, and that's the reason they do them.
To be fair, when we're young, we think we're immortal.
Oh, that's true. That's completely true. I mean,
I
was jumping off,
and if I hit a cliff,
I was doing, those cliffs where like dirt's falling off them, and there's just like these huge banks of dirt and pebbles. We used to go jump into that, like from 20 feet up. No water, just hit it, roll, run down the hill. Like, I'd break something now.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, that's also a thing too. Like I used to jump off of my house, like easy. Like, oh, this is not a big deal.
Just like step off of it, land, you're fine.
Now
your knees feel it.
Dude, I used to be able to step off the house and then stiff leg land. Like,
how do your knees feel now?
They're fine. I mean, granted, my right knee does have some issues sometimes, but I also know that my dad has gout, so that's the thing that I probably have to look forward to. But
lovely.
Yeah, no, like nowadays, man, I'm looking up the roof. I'm like, nah, dude. Like, even when we were doing that job when we were on roofs, man, I was like, nah. I'm gonna ladder.
That one didn't bother me at all for some reason.
I was never worried about falling off. It was just the point of like, I'm not jumping that.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair. I didn't really jump much either.
I just can't do that.
There was ladders and stuff, or a rope I could rappel down on.
Yeah, they had safety harnesses for sure.
I
definitely did it. Dude, I did a house specifically with one of the team leads, and there was no safety harness, and there wasn't a goat. So it was just like, oh yeah, we need you to go up on this super slanty tall roof. It was like a 2.5 to 3 story building.
Yeah.
And it was like super sharp slopes, and I had to go up and around and then go to the other side and then start clipping from the front. And it was like, If I die next to my mother's house.
Every
She won't have to drive far to pick me up.
every OSHA inspector that ever watches this is right now.
To be fair, yeah, no, for sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of want to mention the company because I don't like them, but I won't.
No need, no need. There's still good people that work there. To be
They
fair,
know who they are.
they hired a lot of cool people that
They
deserve
did.
the work, and they wouldn't have
Mhm.
been hired other places.
Yeah, there was I loved the staff I worked with there, but management was garbage.
It's not entirely true. There was one manager that wasn't actually a manager, and he was red as fuck.
Yeah. The not manager.
Probably because he wasn't actually a manager.
Yeah, dude. Real quick story for that one. I won't get into too many specifics, but I got put on. We were doing Christmas light work, essentially, is what we were doing. And I was put in part of like everyone that got on. So I got in with DJ, and DJ got put on the road and to go do people's houses. And they're like, we're going to have you do stuff at the shop. And so I stayed at the shop with the guy who was supposed to be running this whole like project. And that dude left me alone. He was like, I'm going to go over here. I'll be back later. I was like, okay, cool. I'm just like, turning and making sure these wires or whatever. And he left me and like never came back. And I don't know if it was because he was being called to go do other things that was involved with the company, or if he was just fucking off to go do whatever he wanted, which to be fair, he was son of one of the people that worked there as the manager, and that was the whole thing. But I ended up running that entire project essentially by myself, to the point where the management was like, yo, if we didn't have you, we were fucked. And
well,
then
the funniest part, they started having you manage like day 2.
yeah. It was day 2.
Day 1 by himself. Hey, there's another person. Can you show him how to do this?
It was
And,
specifically
third day,
like, hey, we
here's
need
two
more
more
people to
people.
do this
And
thing
you-
with you because you're the only one with the other guy that's supposed to be leading it. And they're like, all right, here's 2 other guys. I'm like, cool. Hey, guys that I don't know and have never met before, this is how we're doing it. This is how we do things. And this is the best way to do it, as I found out in the last 48 hours. And they're like, all right, boss. And I was like, I'm not your boss. I'm actually the exact same position as you. I just don't get paid any better. And I'm the only guy who's doing this, apparently.
Yeah.
And then I got to the point where like I had I think 3 or 4 people working directly underneath me, and all of them called me boss.
It was hilarious. It was laughable. I actually loved that experience I had with that job.
Oh,
Besides, like the management wasn't a fan, but everything else was great. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of camaraderie. Great people.
It was okay.
I mean, but I only wanted to do it for the time I was there. Like I knew
did
it was
for the
temporary.
money.
That's the best part.
Yeah, it was. I only did it for the money, and at
Yeah.
the time. But yeah,
So.
no, definitely that. Anyways, we're talking about phobias. What the fuck we're doing? Jobs is another discussion for another time.
That's true. That's
yeah.
true. That's
That
true.
being said, we're running on pretty close to 50 minutes. How
We
how
are.
thinking?
We're
feeling?
I think we're gonna get ready to wrap up. But we would love to hear what everybody's phobias are. So if you have any phobias, put them
Yeah,
down in
tell
the
us your
comments.
worst fear so we can not use it. That's such a weird way to set that up. We want to hear your phobias, by the way.
Evil.
It's weird people with glasses staring in the camera. I don't know. It's crazy.
You're the only one with glasses.
I know. I'm
That's-
singled out. Stop bullying
They'd only
me.
be scared of
God.
a third of the podcast.
God.
Fear of people with glasses.
You know what? That's probably a thing, and that's so sad. It just hurts my
Regardless
soul.
whether it is much of a thing, someone's gonna say it's a phobia.
You
It's
know
like
what?
Hippopotomonstrosesquippedaliophobia.
You found that and then learned it, didn't you?
It's
What?
it's the fear of long words.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh,
I
dude,
remember.
Oh man, the fact that they have that as the phobia name, and then they have like dyslexia. If you are dyslexic like me, you can't spell it ever.
I have no idea how to spell it. I know how to say it. I know how to say dyslexic dyslexically. Less distic. But that's about it.
There you go.
Surprise. And with that, we should wrap it up. This has been ridiculous. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
And